There are differences that makes the difference in people's lives. There are interesting personalities in this century. W. Mitchell, he met with an accident where his three-fourths of his body was burnt, yet he survived. Then he survived an air crash. His many organs, many systems were thwarted, damaged, but he came out very, very strongly. He was a very successful man later on. He developed very strong relationship with the people and he became a millionaire in business. And in comparison to this person, there was another very big name, John Belushi. He was a comedian, actor, singer. He had a lot of admiring friends. He had great marriage. He has a wonderful home. He has a vineyard. He has all the successes in life. Yet, he committed suicide. Then there is another person, Pete Struckwick. He had no hands, no feet. Yet he became a marathon runner and he completed more than 25,000 miles. He also reached the most difficult peak, the Pikes Peak. Though he had no hands and feet, yet he ran the most difficult marathon in the world. Then you know the outstanding story of Helen Keller. She was deaf and dumb, yet she set an example of an outstanding story among the people. And he did it. Who doesn't know the struggle of Candy Lightner? She was the mother of a daughter who died in an accident. She fought for this. She is the founder of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And later on, she saved hundreds and thousands of lives against drunk driving. And she forced the administration to pass laws against the drunk driving. On the other hand, we had Marilyn Monroe, Ernest Hemingway. They were fabulous success. They have all the resources, everything in their life, yet they ended up in destroying their lives. So it is very interesting to know that we have on one side we have people who has everything in their life, then the people who don't have anything, people who can, who cannot, people who do something and people who do not. What is that basically which drives it? You see, why some people overcome horrible, unimaginable adversity and make their life triumph, successful, while other people who have all the resources available with them, they have all the advantage with them. Still they, in spite of all these advantages, they turn their life into a disaster. Henry David Thoreau, he said that things do not change, actually we change. And we have read the stories of many successful people where it is known that successful people do not have fewer problems, they have a lot of problems. And the people who fail, they also have problems, but the successful people, they overcome those problems and become successful. I think the difference between these two persons, the persons who fails and the persons who succeed, is basically how we communicate with ourselves and what actions we take. And it's not only that we communicate with ourselves and the actions we take, how we communicate with others and what actions we take. It all depends upon that. Actually, if we want to replicate the success stories of others, we must precisely duplicate the actions of others. And this process is called modeling. See, if a couple has a successful marriage, even after 25 years of their marriage and they are still in love, we need to find out what actions are being taken by them, what beliefs they have. We need to replicate those actions and beliefs so that we could also produce similar results and similar achievements. Suppose if some people are very compassionate, they have a very kind heart in spite of very, very difficult circumstances, then we should know what strategy they are applying when they look at things, and what is their physiology, how they use their body in those circumstances. So we must understand the language. That language must be understood. This language may be verbal, it may be non-verbal. And this language actually, whether it is verbal or non-verbal, it affects our nervous system. So our ability to do anything in our life, it depends upon our ability to direct our central nervous system. So if we can, through our mental frame, through our brain, if we can direct a systematic approach, if we know a language, how we can direct our central nervous system, then we can change our states, we can change our behaviors, we can change our actions. So this language must be understood. There are three fundamental ingredients, or we can say there are three fundamental approaches or doors through which we can direct our central nervous systems through our mental approach, physical approach, and what beliefs we have, so that we are able to replicate what other peoples are doing, people who are successful in all endeavors of life, so that we could also produce the similar results. What are those three ingredients, or what are those three doors that we need to open? Let us see each one of them. First one is the person's belief system. See, person's belief, whether he thinks something is possible or impossible, it determines to a great extent what he can do and what he cannot do. So in both circumstances, whether you believe that you can do it or whether you believe you cannot do, you are always right. So when we are having some belief, we are consistently sending the message to our nervous system or our central nervous system, where we are saying that we are either limiting ourselves or we are eliminating our ability to produce results. So belief system is very, very important. The second most important thing is the coding system the successful people are using. How people are using or organizing their thoughts, what is the code they are using, in what sequence those thoughts are being arranged, in what sequence the actions are being taken, and this sequence or coding of actions or thoughts is called mental syntax. It is like a 10-digit number. If you want to communicate with some other person who is sitting in the other city, we need to dial a number, 10-digit number, and it doesn't matter, you have to dial that number in a particular sequence only. All the numbers, if you know the numbers and you dial it, it may not be possible. Only in a particular sequence you have to dial a number, and then only you will be able to communicate with him. In a similar way, you may have all the ingredients available with you, you may have all the codes available with you, but in what sequence you have to use these codes, that must be understood. Then only you will be able to communicate from your brain to your central nervous system. So that code of that successful person must be understood. The language that he's using, the coding that he's using, if that is known to us, we can replicate the same results. So we have to unlock this code to model the best qualities of that person, successful person. Then the third, the most important thing is physiology. You know, mind and body are linked. Your breathing pattern, your posture, your facial expressions, the nature and the quality of your movements, all this determines in what state you are in. It will determine the range and the quality of the behaviors you are able to produce. So if you want to succeed, you need to have a proven system which has been used by some other person who has already been successful, and duplicate it and you may have to even better it, or you may have to improve upon it also. Japanese, they normally take ideas and products from this all over the world, and then they improve upon those qualities, best qualities, and not only those best qualities, even those qualities which have been avoided or not touched upon, even those qualities they try to improve upon, and they retain the best elements and try to improve upon the rest of the elements. We have a very interesting story of Adnan Muhammad Khashoggi. He was the richest man in the world. Once he was asked how he became the richest, he said he modeled the Rockefellers, the Morgans, and the successful people in the financial business. He studied about them. He studied about their beliefs. He modeled their strategies. He modeled their physiologies. So once you develop this optimum performance technology, develop your own pattern, your own strategy based on the coding, based on the belief system people, successful people are using, based on the physiology they are using. If you take that language and adopt that language and just replicate it, you may replicate the results also. So you have to have these things. You have to develop your own approaches, you have to develop your own strategies, you have to develop your own insights based on the beliefs, mental syntax, physiologies of other people, so that you can also have the differences that makes the difference in your life. Thank you so much.